Hey guys, it's Glockster42 and you're watching Scale Model Alberta. This is going to be my entry for Storm 22's Canadian military build. It's the Leopard 1C hybrid hull, and the reason I'm going to do this one is because it has markings for the Southern Alberta Regiment, 29th Armoured Recon Regiment, 4th Canadian Armoured Division, Canadian Army. And that, my friends, is going to go in World War II. Now, I had actually thought about my original plan was to do this one, the Leopard 2A6M Canadian. But, I don't know, I've been doing a lot of modern armor, and I thought, you know what, I finished that Israeli Sherman and I kind of liked it. So I'm going to do the hybrid hull FireFly. And who knows, if I have time, I may do this at the same time. So we may just do two at once. Okay, if anyone ever watched SCTV back in the 80s, Dr. Tongue's 3D House of Horror, here's my low budget 3D effects. So there you have it, guys. We're going to get started on this shortly. Thanks for watching. Later. Well, we're about ready for tracks. While definitely not as simple as a Tamiya kit to put together, it's reasonably detailed. This kit is showing its age though. Dragon does some goofy things, but it's coming along. There's really nice texture in this front transmission cover. The vertical suspension is quite nice. Now the only problem is these drive sprockets are kind of fiddly. The locating holes aren't very good, so make sure you have a track to square it off and make sure it's good. So we're ready for track. Well, the lower hull is pretty much all done. Working on these tracks. Oh god, they suck. They give you two sets of tracks, but unfortunately only enough end connectors for one set. So I was going to use all these for added armor, but I doubt if there's going to be enough end connectors for these. We're using the real heavy style track versus the lighter one, so I'm taking a break from these. What you see right there is about an hour and a bit, hour and about 15 minutes to get that much. I loathe this. I might just steal these tracks from a Tamiya kit. Well, probably not, but anyway, yeah, it's coming along nicely. I kind of want to get the hull done tonight, and we'll talk to you later. Here's a couple of real gotchas on this kit. If you put the air cleaners on where they show and the rear fenders on where they show the mud flaps, it's not going to work because this hull is recessed in a bit. It drops down about 1/8 of an inch, so those mud flaps of course are going to get knocked off. So the mud flaps actually have to get put on the hull, not the inner hull. So that got foobarred up. I had to knock the air cleaners out because of course they were mounted up too high. The top of the upper hull hit, and unfortunately I knocked off the goddamn rear idler wheel when I was doing that. The fit up here is just horrendous. You can see a huge gap in there in the hull, which wouldn't be, so we'll have to fill that in. All in all, this is I forgot how bad the old Dragon stuff was. There'll be a bit of a seam there we have to fill, but now we'll get there. Alright guys, looking at the Shermans that I've looked at, this plate here is actually an extension, is a machined extension to this lower transmission cover, so there can't be any seam along here because this is all one piece. This has been machined out and then bolted on, so we can't have a seam up top because that is the actual top bottom section, so they're just bolted together for quick transmission swaps. So no seam here, seam okay here. Well, there's 4 hours of my life I'll never get back. 4 bleeping hours to do these bleeping link-to-link bleeping tracks on this bleeping FireFly. I bleeping hate link-to-link on Shermans. It ain't necessary. It looks good, but man, what a bleeping nightmare. 4 bleeping hours. Did I mention 4 hours on one set of tracks? I could have had, you know, with rubber band tracks or the New Dragon Smart Tracks, man. I could have this whole kit almost all done by now, man. That really bleeps me off. Anyway, kind of looks good though, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Looks bleeping really good. Shee. Ah, man. Might have been worth 4 hours. Alright, more later. 9 effing hours. That's what it took to finish these bleeping tracks. 9 bleep hours. These link-to-link Dragon tracks like this suck. They're horrible. Just a mess. You got the rubber block, and then you got the 2 end connectors, which are all fiddly. The end connectors have ejector pins, flash. They're a pain in the ass. You got to clean every one of them up and put them together. I'd rather build Frule tracks than these mother bleepers. Anyway, the tracks are freaking done, and they do look good. I'll say that. They look really good, although rubber band tracks will work just as well. Keep in mind, guys, if you're doing Shermans, no track sag. These were constant. If I recall, they were a constantly under tension out there. I think they were called a live track. I could be mistaken on the name, but if you have sag or any kind of that, the only time you'd ever see real sag on these is if they were burned up, and then you'd see the sag in between the bogey wheels. But keep them tight up top, boys. So we're coming along. I'll probably finish this kit with the amount of time it took just to build these freaking tracks. So anyway, it's coming along. Well, the hull, she's done on this FireFly. This is going to be my part of the group build that Storm and Norm are having for Canadian Armour aircraft. Canadian Forces veterans started here on the 11th of November, and I kicked right off on her and got this FireFly going. So the hull is complete. I made some really heavy weld lines here between the cast hull and the slab side armor. Might be a little bit overdone, but from the pictures I've seen, some of the welds were pretty heavy duty and pretty crude. If I were going to do this again, I would take my Dremel tool and cut a little shallow V in there and then put my welds inside there, but I'll probably add a little bit of a mark surfacer on there to just thin it out a bit. But she's coming along good, and we'll get onto the turret. I'm kind of hoping I'll wrap this up today or tomorrow. This is pretty much ready for paint. Alright, later guys. Well, the lower hull, she's all done. We added some weld lines there, a little bit of texture to the front casting. All the Pioneer tools are on. We added a couple of grab handles at the back. All the back goodies. This is definitely, I'd say probably generation 1.5 for Dragon. There's still a lot of issues. The older kits had great big locating holes for the Pioneer tools. Detail is meh. It's okay. It's iffy. It certainly isn't. It certainly isn't what it is now. So boss, all I've got left to do is the photo etch in the front here and the back photo etch parts. I usually leave those off right till dead last. I just hate seeing them getting schmunched. So I've got the turrets coming right along. It's almost done. I should be ready to. I should be painting this afternoon. And this is one of the figures. This is the commander figure I'm going to use. And then the driver's figure is going to have his head be popping out of here. It's going to be a shame to lose a lot of this parka detail, but with the way these hatches are, and this is a fairly robust figure, he's just not going to be showing much more, but that'll be okay. And we're going to be putting this in February of 45. I can't remember the operation of the British crossing the Rhine, but that's what it's going to be put in. I wanted to put it earlier in with Curry there when he won the Victoria Cross during the Felice Gap battle, but they didn't have FireFlies yet. The 29th there, the South Alberta Regiment didn't get FireFlies till September of 44, so I'll put it in late war. So anyway, it's coming along nice, guys, and sure great that Norm and Norman Storm got this group build going. It's a good one. I would have probably never built this kit. I've had it on the shelf since probably 2003. It's been on my shelf, so I'm glad they got this group build going. And I got my button gear and finished this kit. Alright guys, later. Well, there she is, boys. FireFly with a hybrid hull, 1C, for Storm and Norm's Canadian group build. She's got an Edward barrel. I added some photo etch I found. It's got the factory photo etch light guards, tail lights. Then I added a few other things. I added that basket and some fire extinguisher holders on it. I'm not a big photo etch guy, so I thought that was plenty. Add a little bit of stowage up front. I found a picture of a British FireFly that had the big idler wheels in the front with a duffel bell on it. I thought that looked pretty good. Just add a little bit of clutter to the front. I see a lot of the FireFlies of this era had a ton of tracks draped all over it, but I just didn't really want to take away the look of the tank. Got a little bit of stowage up there. I'm going to add a few jerry cans to the back, and she's ready for primer as soon as these bed rolls dry off. So anyway guys, I really appreciate Storm and Norm having this group build, and we'll get some primer on it and start doing some weathering down on it. Later guys.